We do a show every single day here, and it seems like we spend a lot of our time talking about the drama surrounding the Lakers and the Celtics. Meanwhile, there are the Golden State Warriors, number one in the West, just plodding along on their way to what seems like is going to be their third straight championship. One thing the Warriors do, though, is sometimes they suffer from malaise. Sometimes there's all that winning just gets a little boring. So they try to make sort of things up to motivate them. They try to create adversity where adversity doesn't really exist. And the latest to do so is a gentleman by the name of Draymond Green. Let's listen to Draymond critique the Warriors team.
I think so many people are kind of looking at the starting lineup and saying, like DeMarcus in there and the defense is worse, but our defense has been horse no matter who's in there. It's easy to look at the numbers and think the numbers tell a story, but the fact of the matter is we haven't been competing.
All right, so now the latest is Draymond Green saying that their defense is terrible. In other words, that we can't say on television. Is this a real thing, Amin, and are the Warriors vulnerable defensively?
Yeah, the defense hasn't been up to snuff. This isn't the elite defense we've seen the last few years. And I think Draymond is right when he says that it's not DeMarcus Cousins' fault because if you look at the on-off numbers, they actually perform slightly better when DeMarcus Cousins is on the floor than when he's off. But overall, it's not good because they haven't been paying attention to detail because their energy and their engagement level is a lot lower. And this is kind of what Steve Kerr was referring to the other night in the post-game press conference after they got shellacked by the Celtics. The idea that, man, we're not playing with enough passion out there.
Well, he said look at the numbers, so we're going to look at the numbers. And when you see this is kind of like the Steve Kerr era leading up to this season compared with this season. Much lower in defensive rating, lower in field goals against, three-point field goal percentage against, much lower, and turnovers forced a game, much, much lower. What do you think the reason is for this not just perceived but quantified slide in defensive abilities?
Because they're sleepwalking. They're sleepwalking through the regular season. Jacoby, it's impossible to make people give a damn about something that they know they don't need to give a damn about. That's the pure and simple fact of it. They know the season for them starts April 15th or whenever the playoffs starts. That's real basketball. And up until then, it's hard to get up for a game, even against the Celtics team, even against the Milwaukee Bucks in February and March.
Yep, I think that's true. I think the number one threat to the Warriors is not the Rockets, it's not the Thunder, it's not the Nuggets, it's not altitude, it's not home field, home court advantage. It is just their own motivation internally. And I do feel like they make these kind of things up and create these topics to motivate themselves. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to find things. So, for instance, Steve Kerr came out and said they really want to make a push to secure home court advantage through at least the Western Conference playoffs. Since when did the Warriors care about home court advantage? This is a team that told us they would win anywhere at any time. So the idea is you got to make these mini goals for people to shoot for in order to get those habits back, in order to get that appetite back. But look, at the end of the day, you look at the Warriors, I can't blame them for not caring, but this is what happens when you go deep in the playoffs every single year, when you win a championship every single year. It's a reason why we look back at Bill Russell's Celtics and their dominance, and we look at it fondly because it's really, 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 really hard to stay motivated after you won a couple.
And it's also like noteworthy that the time when they were motivated the most during the regular season and won 73 games, they lost in the finals. Like that's just definitely, I think those two things are correlated right there.